I wonder if anyone's guessed that yet. But if you haven't, doesn't matter. Keep going. Maybe you hear it sometime. Maybe you won't. Maybe you'll look for it. Maybe you won't. Welcome back to the Identity Human podcast. And this is your current host, Don. Um, Armand, Armand, however you want to say it. But welcome back again to another episode number 25. And if you've actually managed to listen to all the episodes, then I hope you've gotten some huge value from them, and B, like, you're awesome. Like, you've given up that much time. I know it's no longer than half an hour per episode, but that much time in your life that I've hopefully added value, that you've taken away and you've gone, that's really helped, or that was cool, nice to listen to, but I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with that. Anyway, regardless, I am still going with this journey. We are still going with the journey, and that excites me. We've got to get to episode 26 was our original goal. So it means we'd have done 26 episodes after the next one, which is very cool. Very, very, very cool. Because I think it used to, I haven't looked at the stats lately, but it puts you in like top 1% of podcasters in the world because they usually drop off before then. So that's a little pride thing right there, a little bit of self-integrity, a little bit of self-confidence, a little bit of practice. We're all good. So, what are we talking about tonight? Tonight is going to be short and sharp. I'm going to be honest, I've been super struggly lately to get creative and put myself out there on like Instagram and social media and all that for no reason, like no real reason. Genuinely, there doesn't always have to be a bad reason for people not to. Like, I just haven't felt the need to like let that stuff kind of flow. And I think that's okay because peaks and troughs, and sometimes you put yourself out there, sometimes you don't have to. And actually, Ray, my wife, this morning said something about wintering, and not wintering, but seasons. Like, businesses have seasons. I was like, yes, that's so true. So maybe it's just in like a wintry period when I'm like, oh, that's I'm just gonna keep focused on what's in front of me, and then when the time is right, I'll feel it and I'll get back out there. My dad actually said he missed the post. I put one out for him the other day, and I must keep going just for him, um, more often than not. Anyway, tonight I was like, what am I going to speak about? There's so many different things, but I can't get a seed in my head about any of them. And one came up was addiction, because I was like, oh, I spoke to some of the people I coached today, and there were a few topics that came up. But one of them was addiction, where someone said they're doing really well in their life and they've changed some of their eating habits, their sleeping habits, their this and that and the next thing. Um, but they had one big thing that needed a kick, and that was vaping. He said, I just can't, I haven't been able to get away from it. I know I need to, but I haven't been able to get away from it. And then he went on and he spoke about, he said, I've said before that I've got an addictive personality and I'm a vapor and I can't kick it. But he's very successful in his own right. Like, a week before this, we'd only just spoken about, say, sleep and different habits around eating and everything. And he, within a week, had changed that. And I know how the mind works is it's going to come round, and perhaps in 3 weeks' time, he might ease off on some of those things because old habits die hard. And there'll be some of the things we'll speak about tonight. But I thought let's just do a focus session on that quickly. So 10 minutes, maybe that'll be the max the podcast will be tonight, or today, whatever time you listen to it. So owning something. So how I'll tell you the process that I took him through to say, like, look, okay, first of all, if we want to stop vaping, like, it was this big mountain to him. It's like, I'm not really sure how to do it because I used to be a smoker since I was 14 and. So this was the process I took him on. As I said, the first thing that I've learned through, and this is purely on knowledge stuff more than experience, but I get it. Do you know what I mean? But that doesn't mean that I'm right. I understand that. But it's the principle of owning something. So when it usually comes to, say, depression or anxiety, is people say my anxiety, my depression, then we filter this out into like sadness and depression, like my sadness, my depression. And there's a sense of ownership in that. And there's a book called Awareness that I read, and it talks about keeping your heart open versus heart closed. So closed heart essentially comes into this because we start to own the um, the depression, the anxiety, you tie to who you are. So it's the attachments. Now, like suffering comes from attachment. I've actually ordered these metal things called disc plates. I love them, and one of them says sufferings. The source of suffering is attachment. So it's about how do we tether these attachments that we have. So I said to him, I said, the first thing I think you should try and reframe your mind is don't say that you have an addictive personality. Like, don't own that. I said, you got, like, just say sometimes addiction surrounds you. But I also said, without that addictive personality, you don't have the ability to like super focus on something and follow through. And that's what's made you successful. So it's almost brings into play this bad wolf, good wolf type of thing. Is like, as the human right in the middle, you've got both wolves. So there's no point in trying to fight the wolves because they're always going to be there. So actually, you've got to own them. They got to be on your team, kind of like what I said with chimps and humans. Are like, make these wolves like your wolves, so no one messes with you. So when the dark wolf, the bad wolf, the inverted commas bad wolf is needed, they are there and they are strong and they're fed. But the good wolf is also there. So it's about embracing these things in life. And like, I almost going to talk about duality tonight because it's a nice principle that I've identified but not known the word for. And then I've seen the word and gone, that's it, duality. Duality is amazing. Like, every side of the coin, there's two sides to every coin. For every positive, there's a negative. For every good, there's a bad. For every light, there's a dark. Like, it's a fascinating thing. If you can identify the principles of duality in life, they're everywhere, but you've got to be able to switch on to see them, right? So back to what I said is about owning something. I said, first of all, don't own something. Just say, I was surrounded by addiction and vaping is a thing that I used to do, but it's no longer who I am. And I said, just by reframing that, it makes it easier because often you read when it comes to, say, quitting drinking, smoking, things like that, there are people that literally make a choice and the next day will never touch it again. So that shows me that it is within all of us. But sometimes we don't reflect on that choice or the ability to be curious about it or really go. And I just said, just sometimes be curious. Like, when you pick up that vape, just think like, why are you doing this? What's it for? And I said, on the other side of it is you're very health conscious. But every time you suck in that vape, you're taking particles of oil into your lungs that can never be absorbed into your body. So they're going to be there for the rest of your life. And he said, yeah, I know. And I was like, well, just think about that. That's the kind of stuff take with you because your body's not stupid. Like, we are survival mechanisms. We are resilient. And I think that's really powerful. I heard Mel Robbins' podcast the other day. She said that she interviewed someone that said we're only 10 days away from being healthy because our body is so amazing at just recovering. So actually give it that chance. Just be curious. So I'm really hoping to see his journey evolve where he quits vaping within the next month rather than the next 3 months or 6 months, because I think it's just down to choice. But that doesn't mean that the choice is easy. So that's how I would say, like, I'd approach quitting bad habits. Now, the other thing to be aware of, and this brings in some of the models that we've spoken about before, is environment or influence. So if you think if his wife was a vapor, or his kids, if they're old enough, not that we're judging even if they're younger, I'm not really sure what the law is. If they all vape, it makes it a lot harder for him to vape. So it's then just considering, like, who is his in environment, who's he got around him that's supporting his journey to quit vaping. And for you, if you listen to this and there's something that you want to quit or start, is making sure that you're thinking about the influences, the environment around you. Um, and then the last bit was scale. So scale is like understand, like, what are you capable of? Are you capable of saying, I'm done tomorrow and I'm not going to do it again? Because I then bring in the principle of, like, what you resist persists. And that's just a willpower battle. And that you have to keep some real discipline. But actually, if you have enough power to resist something within yourself, you become quite annoying to live with because you focus so hard on resisting something that you notice it everywhere else and you become very controlling to things around you. So it's the trick is to just be aware of it rather than trying to control it. Now, I know we could get deep into that, but I wanted to keep this short and sharp tonight. So I think the last thing I wanted to just say, if you think about this, like, if you're trying to start something, remember your perspective. Don't look at what someone else is doing and try and do what they do, because they wouldn't have started where you see them. They would have started a lot smaller. They would have started somewhere else. So start somewhere that's comfortable for you and build up slowly. It's like that habit stacking thing. And yeah, I think it was just 10-minute tidbits. I just wanted to give us some things around whether it's addiction or starting something. Is the principle of ownership. So are you owning the things that you're trying to get rid of? Because then you're closing your heart to them. So open your heart, be aware of them. Don't try and change them. And what do we mean by be aware of? It's like almost be a fly on the wall and observe them. Oh, I'm vaping again. Oh, this is interesting. I wonder why I'm doing this. So almost narrate through it, as you said, as if you were narrating a movie of yourself, because that's how you start to create separation, and that's how you can, like, tether those attachments a lot easier. And like, let me know how that goes. Like, if there's something that someone else is trying to quit or to anything around, not addiction, because addiction, there's levels of this. I know that there's certain levels that need, like, some help that goes deep. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's not what I mean, imagine we could solve addiction in a podcast. That would just be it would be ridiculous, and it would be undermining years and years and years of, research and. But the point is, let's keep that power of choice. Let's remember who we are, what we're about, and have the courage to do some deep self work, because then that's where the answer lies at source. But we often will get distracted day to day, and we just won't follow through. So I'm going to end it there. We're going to test this out. 10 minutes 30. Sorry for going 30 seconds over. I really appreciate you guys listening, and I hope that nugget, those highlights, are going to help you with whatever it is you're trying to, or with someone that you know what they're trying to go through. Leave some comments or ratings in the show, share it, and let's see how this goes. Like, I'll look through them, and I'll try and get back to them if there's something of meaning there. Otherwise, have a great week. You're awesome. Remember that. Like, keep giving your essence out there. Keep trying to make a difference. Keep trying to make small positive changes to yourself, to other people, because you never know the difference that you can make. Remember, Ubuntu, we are who we are through others. So I'll look after you if you look after. No, I'll look after me for you if you look after you for me. Sorry, I was rushing ahead there. Right. Cheers, everyone.